One big guy in the NFL, Aidan Hutchinson, he had the severe leg injury last season against the Cowboys, I believe it was. He has been working his way back. There was video last week of him going full speed, ready to roll. Remember, there was some talk during the season maybe he'd be back for the Super Bowl. I think that was all wishful thinking, but the reality is he is getting healthier and healthier all the time. Let's hear it straight from him. Here he is with an update on the rehab of that badly broken leg.
I'm running full speed going, like you're grateful that when you walk you don't feel pain, so I think that's this injury has definitely made me very blessed for these moments. It was a long process, I'll tell you that. It felt pretty long. The early stages were pretty rough, but just being out of that now, like we were talking about earlier, you have this appreciation for your body, you have appreciation for no pain and running, and I'm happy to be done with that. And people were loving that sprinting video too. I didn't think people would love it as much as they did, but it's I got a lot of text messages, a lot of people DMing me and stuff, and it was cool. The support has been amazing.
That was Aidan Hutchinson with Marty Smith at the Masters. That was an interesting choice with the microphone usage. No lav mics, no stick mics.
I like it.
They got the actual studio mics like we have on a big giant contraption to swing out there. Right. I like it. I like that video even better. There he is, moving well. Lions are going to be in good shape. He's going to be in good shape. They're just going to have to pay him at some point, Chris. I don't know if you and I talked about that last week or if it was Miles Simmons and I on Friday, but the window's open for his second contract, and the Lions have been paying everybody, and it just feels like a matter of time before they pay him too.
Well, they want him. I mean, he embodies everything they stand for, right, as an organization. I mean, if you told me he was Dan Campbell's son, I'd go, yeah, I understand that. They're big. They have the same type of attitude. So he is perfect. He is the Detroit Lion that they want for the current state of the organization. But I think they'll wait a little bit before they pay him. I don't think it's going to happen right now because I would be a little scared. I would. I mean, not that I know he's going to be okay and he's going to be able to play. I got to see it to believe it, though. I got to see it a little. I'm not just going to go, hey, blindly, you're one of the top paid defensive players in the history of football. Bam. After that type of injury, I mean, come on. That was gruesome. That was Joe Theismann-ish. That was his leg bent around somebody else's leg like a cartoon. So, with all of that, and I know he's running, and I know he works hard, and all of that, he's the man. He's the man. And they need him to be the man. But at the same time, running down the field and doing this is still ain't coming off the edge, getting low, planting off that bad leg with somebody like Trent Williams, who's 330, pushing on you at the same time. And that'll be the ultimate test. And that's where, I think both sides will realize that. And I hope he's okay. But that's what I want to see, Mike. The ability to get off the ball and come around the corner, that'll be the final test to know if he's okay and ready to go for football.
It looks like he's due to make this year. I'm doing the math here very quickly.
Yeah.
$5.577 million in the last year of his rookie contract. That is dangerously close to the don't set on the foot on the field without your contract, as we advised Michael Parsons last year. Not that he listened to us, but this is the awkward balance now of who's going to bear the injury risk for 2025 and beyond. He's going to say, I've put in my 3 years. I've proven that I'm a great player. I've suffered this badly broken leg. While doing your bidding, you should assume the injury risk going forward. From their perspective, it's, you had a serious injury. We need to know you're healthy, and we need to know you're the same guy before we're going to assume the risk of injury going forward. And everything's great. This is the anti-Derek Carr situation. Everything's great between the Lions and Aidan Hutchinson. He wants to stay there. He's from there. I think the Lions at some level may be tempted to lowball him a little bit because they're going to know he wants to stay there. And it's got the potential. This is going to be the biggest contractual test of the relevant Lions. If you truly are going to try to be high-level competitive, contend, get to a Super Bowl, how are you going to manage this roster? How are you going to feed every mouth? How are you going to find the right balance between properly compensating one of your most important players and not giving him too much?
I hear you, and they need him. As we know, we saw their defense fall apart last year. Pass rush is an issue. He was on a pace there early in the year to go, oh man, he's going to lead the league in sacks. But the injury, I do think, allows them to kick the can down the road a little bit and just go, wait, hey, Micah didn't get paid last year, and he didn't even have that type of injury. Your injury's pretty serious. And I think Aidan Hutchinson will know that too, to where I don't expect him to be demanding big contract yet. I feel like this is more one of those where, hey, he comes back, he's healthy, he shows he can play, things continue to go on an upper trajectory throughout the year, and they'll reward him somewhere if things go well towards the end of the season and do all the things you're talking about. They want to take care of him. You know that. Like we've talked about, I mean, it just makes too much sense. They're two peas in a pod there as far as Aidan Hutchinson and the Lions and Dan Campbell and everything that culture wants. He's just like an Amon-Ra St. Brown. It's intense. It's work. It's all of that. So, I think it's coming, but I don't think it's going to come yet until they see and feel he's good enough to come around the edge like a crazy man and get sacked still.
This is their conundrum, to use your word. This is their paradox right now. Look at what they've done with their best players. They got ahead of it with Penei Sewell. Forget about Micah. You paid Penei after 3 years. You paid your top 5 first-round pick, top 7. He was somewhere. He was top 10.
Yeah, right there. He was top 7.
You paid him after 3 years.
Right.
I've got my 3 years in. You've paid him Amon-Ra St. Brown. You've paid the guys who have been part of this. I'm part of this. And if I'm the Lions, do I really want Aidan Hutchinson out there with the fact that he's yet to get the generational payday and the commitment and the security? I'd rather him have it and not be thinking about it, because I'm going to get a better 2025 out of him if I take the injury risk from him.
I get
if
that.
If I saddle him with the injury risk,
right?
And then it all gets back to dysfunctional teams do dysfunctional things, and the Lions are in the process of shifting from dysfunctional to functional.
Yeah, top
and
notch.
I think if they're truly functional, you got to pay him now. You got to take care of him now.
I would agree with everything always except with this injury. The injury, because the other part you got to think about is the opposite side of that, Mike. You pay him $40 million a year. He's one of the 2 or 3 highest paid non-quarterbacks in football. And then we get to week 9 next year and we go, damn, like it's a little scary. He's not really coming around the edge the same way. I don't know if he can plant his foot in the ground and drive like that anymore. What's it going to be? And then it becomes, oh, no, this isn't a good contract for your football team, and there's issues there. So that's where I think it would just be best for both just to wait a little bit, because then Aidan can totally capitalize and not have there's both sides. There's the pressure of I have to get out there because of the contract, but there's also the pressure of, like you're saying, it gets taken off because I got it, and now I can just be one of the guys. I don't have to worry about it anymore. But also, I would say that's not necessarily great business by a team to just throw money at a kind of an unknown commodity and where he's at right now on the football field.
Well,
it's an interesting one.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
There's a push and pull there.
There is.
And there's a balance to be struck. And if I'm Aidan Hutchinson, I don't know how I feel about having to go out there and sing for my supper and prove myself again and take the risk that if something doesn't work. And I know injury policies are available. First of all, good luck getting one now. I don't know what it would cost to get a policy coming off of a broken leg to ensure that I get from the insurance carrier the money that I won't get if I'm not myself again. But the loss of value policies, look, folks, don't waste your money. For something like that, where it's almost impossible to prove, they're going to fight you tooth and nail. Insurance companies, their product is money. They don't make anything. They just move money around. So they take in your money and they maximize their profits by not paying the money out. And I know they eventually will if they have to, but they have all sorts of terms and clauses and exceptions and exclusions that keep them from having to. I just can't imagine him getting the protection he needs from a traditional or highly specific and highly expensive insurance policy. The only way to get that insurance policy is to get it in your contract from the Detroit Lions. And I wonder whether or not there's a way for them to do kind of like a short term. They could do that. Nothing stops him from doing like a 1-year deal, give him a big raise over $5 million, and then say after this year, we'll look at it again.
Like Jordan Love, like a few years ago, like that kind of thing?
Exactly.
Right.
Different situation. Love had 3 years in. He hadn't played. They were up against the deadline for picking up his 5th-year option, and they weren't going to do it. And they leveraged that to get him to do a short-term deal. So I think they could do something where, well, even if it's a 2-year deal, something where he gets more money this year, but it's not $40 million a year. But it's something to show that he's got security and we believe in him, and let's go out there and prove we're healthy, and you'll get your Myles Garrett contract next year. I feel like they need to do something like that at a minimum.
Yeah, listen, I wouldn't be mad if they did. That certainly wouldn't bother me. Right, this injury thing is definitely throwing a wrench into the plans probably of both sides here. This is one of the better defensive players in football. I mean, he's one of the best. We know that. And they need him. They need him. If they want to go to the Super Bowl, they need his ability to get around the edge and get after the quarterback. Because like we saw last year, they couldn't get after the quarterback once he was off the field. And they had a blitz, and they had to do a lot of crazy things that compromised their defense, and they weren't as good because of injuries. But specifically, he was the start, or at least the lead domino there, and the effect of what it hurt the whole football team. We'll see what happens. But I don't think there's any doubt. They want to reward him. I know that. It's just, will it happen, or do they just splash the pot a little bit, Teddy KGB style, just to make him happy for the year?
Hey, nice cars are expensive. They got a GT. They got a GT in the garage, the Ford GT, which is ridiculous. It's appreciated like post-market, like incredible. And that's what he is. If all the tires are fully functioning. And I could see Dan Campbell saying, this guy's going to be fine. This guy's going to be fine. We need to get him taken care of. We don't need to have any issues. We don't need to have any concern. We need to take that off his plate, and we need to let him focus on being the best player he can be. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.